6:36 p.m. So we'll call the meeting to order. I think we have, as a quick audio check, we heard Lamar. Stan, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, and everybody can hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, super. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started with the additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda.
I don't have any.
No? I do have one question, Nate, on the agenda. So I assume that the volunteer applications we'll be reviewing are for new members of the Planning Commission. Will they be then eligible to participate in the election of a chair and vice chair this evening?
No, they would still have to be approved by the board to actually be commissioners at the next meeting.
Right. So given that, before we approve the agenda, Mike and Lamar, I just wondered, does it make sense to delay the election of chair and vice chair until we have all 5 members on board?
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fine with me.
Okay. All right. So I think we need to officially change the agenda. I think we need to make and approve a motion.
I make a motion that we delay getting our officers in place until we have added our new members. And I assume that would be next month's meeting.
Okay.
Perhaps, yeah, we'll talk about a timeline for other stuff later.
Okay. So move to table the election of new board members until the seating of the full board. Do we have a second?
Wait,
Okay.
wait, you said it different.
Oh, sorry. Say,
I want to table the election of our officers
okay.
until we have our new commission members
Okay.
fully
Okay.
installed.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Uh,
Okay, so all 3 and 3 ayes. Any opposed? All right. So we'll modify the agenda as discussed. And next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. And I believe Nate's displaying those. Do we have I'm sorry.
Just to comment, I reviewed the video from last time when we went over the land use code rewrite, that installment 1, and just summarize the action items here. So if anyone has been able to review that, I think it's pretty accurate, but I did it pretty detailed for my purposes as well as everyone's. But
Okay. All right. Thank you, Nate. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from April 25th?
So move.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Minutes are approved. We can go on to new business. Application for offense at 10880 Olathe, and I think we start with Nate in the staff report.
yeah, so this is a fence that was already in progress, but I went and talked to the owner, and sorry, Stanley, how do you say your last name?
it's Gurley.
Mr. Gurley was in process of building the fence. Wasn't really aware of the town's requirement for that. So anyway, went over and explained the process, and basically the fence is a pretty small split rail, sorry, yeah, in front of the cabin. It, as the drawing shows here, it basically is within the footprint of the building itself. It is replacing a fence that was quite a bit more towards the road. And in fact, the old fence was most likely in the right of way. So this is a less intrusive fence, I would say, into the street itself. But on the diagram, when I went and visited the site, Mr. Gurley and his neighbor were out, and we all were talking and saw this property pin here that I'm sort of circling with my cursor. So anyway, so the fence was pretty much already up, but Mr. Gurley came in right away and did the application and filled out all the necessary details. He drew this drawing, which I modified a little bit. The scale was a little bit off as far as the how far out in the street this pin is. It would actually be to scale a little bit closer here, but fences are allowed to go out to the property boundary. There is no setback for fences. So based on the pin that I saw on the ground, I feel that it's a reasonable fence and complete application at this point.
Okay. Mr. Goulet, Paul Yingling here. Anything else we should know? Anything else you'd like to say?
No, not really. The reason I put it up there basically is because the other one was old and about ready to fall down, safety hazard. So I just tore it down and put this other one that was 1/3 the size and 1/3 of the way of encroaching on the road.
Right.
So I don't win situation either way. So.
Okay. And then Nate, remind me, is it we asked for public comment, which I don't see any, and then commissioner questions, right?
Yeah, I didn't have any registered public comment, but I don't know. Did you want to say anything to the matter? Or?
I might make a comment too, is that the other was up there probably.
Hold on one second. Mr. Gurley's neighbor is here. He just wanted to comment on something.
Hey, and Nate, could you ask the gentleman with you at the town hall to move a little closer to the mic so that Lamar and I can hear better?
Yeah, we've got a microphone with him now. If you could just state
Okay.
your name and your address.
Stephen Ferguson, 10890 Oasis Street. That's right next door to Stan.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Well, he tore down the fence, and that's fine. It was going to fall down, but then he wanted to move the fence over, which wasn't on the property line until I showed him the property pin. And now there's nothing done. And so what was happening now is my property has became his driveway.
Well, now there's nothing.
My property has become his driveway.
Oh,
So, Mr. Ferguson, I wonder if you could clarify, are you saying that the fence is on your property or that Mr. Gurley is using your property to drive on, or something else?
The existing fence was not on the property line. It was actually in his property, approximately 2 or 3 feet from the, about 2 feet from the property line. So when he tore that down, that exposed my property to make a driveway way out of, because his existing fence or the fence he built does not go out to the street. Well, I could show you, but it's hard for me to explain.
I think the previous fence, because it went out so far or further than this one, created a barrier to where cars couldn't drive easily from between the properties. And now because
Right.
the shorter fence is there, then there's kind of it's created an opening, which is now becoming basically a dispute between neighbors. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, the fence as presented is well within the rules and everything. So the fact that it now creates this opening is
Right.
sort of, I guess, irrelevant to the approval of this fence itself. That this neighbor dispute would
Right.
essentially be a civil matter.
Can I mention something?
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Gurley, before you do that, just one quick comment to kind of amplify Nate's comments. So our role here is pretty limited. We are basically looking at a proposed plan and determine if it meets the town code. So, that we really aren't in a position to adjudicate any disputes between neighbors about how property is used. We just look at a drawing and a plan and say if it does or does not meet the town code. So I just want to make that clear. Yes, you're absolutely free to comment, but I just want everyone to understand our role.
Okay. All right, I'll just comment real quick. I understand your role. No, I talked to Fergie and we agreed to share to split the cost to put another fence there, and I'm willing to put a fence right where it was before. In fact, I was planning on doing it, but we have the issue that other fence was so old. It's probably about 40 years old, about ready to fall down. Not only was it a safety issue and leaning, but it also was an eyesore. So when I tore that thing down, I already talked to Fergie that we split the cost and put another fence, split rail, they're the same direction, and therefore protecting the property from any cars. So I'm able to do that. But then again, that's something that's between us. I just wanted to comment on that.
Right.
But willing to cooperate. This is not any argument between neighbors. I'm willing to cooperate with him getting another fence.
Right. Okay. All right. So thank you. Anything else from either Mr. Ferguson or Mr. Gurley?
No, not at all.
Any other public comment?
I just wanted to remind that any further fence would still have to come back here as a new application. So just wanted to remind everyone of that.
Yeah, thank you, Nate. Okay.
Yep.
Questions or comments from commissioners?
Well, I have a question. I guess I'm confused by the last comment that Mr. Goulet made regarding he was willing to put it back where it had been. And if that's the case, is that if that's what he's going to do, then do we need a different application? Because this places it in a position that what we're being asked to approve tonight is not back where it was, correct?
Correct.
No,
Go ahead. I was just
Okay,
going
I
to say,
guess-
I don't think that any plans are imminent. I just think that they are talking about it, but I think that they understand that they need to come back with a new application. And I would caution that it sounds like, from what I observed and where this pin is, that the old fence sounded like it was definitely in the right of way. So that would most likely not be able to go as far as it did before. But there would need to be an ILC in that situation, and something, especially if it's going to be, very questionable to where the right of way is, there's going to need to be some ILC or some other proof of pins, a secondary pin for sure, if nothing else.
What's the part of that drawing that's in dispute here, that it might move? Is it the right-hand section down there?
The right hand side of the screen.
Okay, and it's that 6-foot section right at the bottom? Is that it?
No, there's no dispute on the current location of the fence is within the cabin, within the building footprint.
So the current application that we have in front of us, is the fence exactly at the edge of his property line, or into his
No.
property line, or where is it exactly? I can't tell where the property line is from this drawing.
This pin here represents one corner, we think.
Okay.
And so the property line would go approximately straight across here. So according to the measurements I was given, that the fence is about 3 feet in of the property line, assuming this pin is a property corner, which I think is pretty safe assumption. It's out in the street. I mean, if you look at it, you would think that it's out in the street, but by the way it is. But anyway, that's how the property line is.
And Nate, just to clarify, there are no offset requirements for fences, right? So if the fence is inside the property line, it's in accordance and meets other requirements, it's in accordance with the code. Is that correct?
Correct. There's no setback requirement for fences. They can go right up to the property line.
Okay.
Can
So-
you show us the property line? And
There, I would say that the fence that Mr. Ferguson wants to build, he's gonna submit new permit for that one. That has nothing to do with this one here at all. But I will cooperate with him to split the cost of whatever he wants to do with that. That's a different issue. It has nothing to do with the disputing this fence.
Right. Just to clarify, the only thing we're doing is looking at this plan and the town code and determining if the plan meets the code. So, any other questions or comments from commissioners?
no,
Okay, I have none. So is there a motion on the table?
I can make a motion that we approve this application to rebuild this fence at 1690 Stony Point Court. I guess it's where is it? Olathe, 10880 Olathe Street, Fremont
Right.
Falls.
Sorry, that was my fault. I didn't have the normal report here.
That's okay. And I know that it's not in Colorado Springs, so sorry.
Right. Okay, there's been a motion to approve the fence at 10880 Olathe. Do we have a second?
a second.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I
Any opposed? All right, application is approved. We'll go on to item number 6, volunteer application reviews.
Okay, all right, so just one sec, Mr. Ferguson, if you want to talk after this, we can about your next steps. So the first application here is from Lisa Bonwell, and she here's her information. She was at the last meeting and was listening in, I believe, to the discussion about the land use rewrite, and I believe she's out of town, otherwise she would be here, but anyway, seems to be very motivated and interested in serving as a planning commissioner.
Okay. All right, and maybe you should go on to the second, and then we can open the floor for any commissioner questions or comments.
And second, oh, Elisa included a very detailed CV here as well. And then the other is Ann Esch, who is here in the room. If you have any questions for her, but I think everyone knows Ann. She's been very active as a volunteer in several capacities for the town over the years. And I think it'd be great to have her on Planning Commission.
Okay. All right, Ann, would you like to make any comments?
No, I just thought I would go ahead and apply. You know, I've been coming here since all my life, and now I officially live here. And I'm just interested in the town, and I am old, but with microphones and hearing aids, I think I can still think. If I'm not capable, I hope someone will tell me.
You won't hear it from me. So, okay. Okay. So, and Nate, just to clarify, two things. One, these are the only applications, and two, we will be recommending approval to the Board of Trustees, which will have final approval. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Questions or comments from commissioners?
Well, I just have one question. I had understood that Rocco Blasi was going to apply as well. Have y'all not received anything from him?
No, I haven't received any official applications from anyone else.
Rocco told me that he would probably not be applying until June. He's going to be on vacation for a while. So
How many open slots do we have? Because he's probably, he's extremely qualified to serve on this commission. How many open slots do we have?
2.
Okay.
And I should say there could be alternate members as well. Our code provides for that. But I mean, I haven't really dealt with that, but that is another option to consider.
What does alternate mean? How does that work?
If there were, not a committee member absent, an alternate could step in. I mean, in general, it wouldn't, you obviously have a quorum with 3, but if it would come in particularly handy if there wasn't a quorum in any certain instance, but they would essentially most likely come to all the meetings and just be informed and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's an
would
option.
they sit in on a meeting if an member were absent for a single meeting?
Yeah, they could take the place of any
Okay.
absent person, commissioner.
And Nate, I just have a question. Were the openings advertised or publicly posted so that there was notification and call for applications, that kind of thing?
I didn't hit it super hard, but there was definitely, there's a post on the town website, and as well as I did a couple of Facebook posts and a pinned post on our Facebook page as well. So it's been out there for a little bit.
Okay, I never saw a posting, so I guess I just missed it.
So in terms of our options this evening, we could move to recommend approval for one or both applications, or we could table the matter and allow time for additional advertising to get the largest possible number of applicants before proceeding. Are those kind of the options in front of us?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
That would be my motion, because I think it feels pretty fast because they just resigned. It hasn't even been a month ago. So I feel like
I posted I knew that was coming, so that I posted the, request for volunteers essentially more than a month ago, because we knew that was going to happen. So. Well,
that's my motion. I'd like to move that we give give a little more time for some people we know that are coming in, that are real qualified.
Okay. And so the motion is to allow an additional month for applications to come in. Is that correct, Lamar?
Yes.
Okay. Motion for allow additional month for additional applications. Do we have a second?
I hate tabling things, but I guess I'll second it.
All right. I understand, Mike. All right. All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion's approved. And we are on to Nate, when I see on the agenda, it's the code rewrite and next steps. Is there like, do you have an additional staff report based on the feedback you've gotten, or is that what this is intended to be?
Yeah, let me just share. This is an email that I received just today. Last week I was trying to nail down a timeline. Ooh, it's kind of hard to read there, but let me see if I can zoom it in. But basically, should be receiving the final drafts of the last 2 installments from Nina, hopefully this evening sometime was the plan. If that occurs, here is the proposed timeline that seems to at least work for her. So basically here it is. And first I should note regarding the extension that we talked about, I did not apply for an extension because we received further clarification from DOLA. The June 30 deadline date is just the date after which they will not pay for any invoices incurred. So as long as the bulk of the work is done by then, we have a 90-day closeout period after that deadline. So that would give us time to essentially have the any new code approved by the board. And really the approval is not really a mandatory part of the closeout, but it would be my goal to have that as a closeout goal. But anyway, so here's the timeline that I proposed. If the Planning Commission can meet on May 24th, which is 2 weeks from tonight, that would be a good target date for a work session to go over these 2 installments. And then after that, June 14th would be the next regularly scheduled PC meeting. And there would be some time. I would have a quick turnaround after May 24th, but I could make edits and essentially publish the public hearing notice for that Planning Commission meeting. And in fact, I don't think I would have to necessarily have all the edits complete, but we would have to have that public notice out there. So all the edits then would essentially go into an agenda packet for that June 14th Planning Commission meeting with the public hearing. So if all that went well, then the draft could then be sent to the trustees, and then I think it would be good to schedule a work session perhaps for the trustees themselves on July 5th. I don't know if there's even a meeting on July 5th with the holiday, but I assume there would be. And then if all that went well, the August 2nd Board of Trustees meeting could then be the second public hearing in front of the board and potential approval that day. And that would be well within the 90 days. 90 days after June 30th is September 28th. So we would have a buffer time with all that being said for officially closing out the grant.
Okay.
Do you need to hear back from us on scheduling?
Yeah, I'll send this email out to you guys. I was hoping to have this draft from Nina tonight or hopefully tomorrow or something. Nothing yet. So I can send out this tentative schedule along with those drafts, and if everyone wants to check their calendars and all that. Todd Dixon just asked whether or not all the funds have been spent. No, the grant was set up to be a matching funds grant, so the state is paying up to $25,000, and I've only requested reimbursement. We've spent about that total, so I've requested for about 12,000 and change in reimbursement that they've, as far as I can tell, accepted. So there was the issue with the Kirkpatrick fund grant, which I still have not received clarification on as far as if they're paying for any of that as well. But Nina is basically at her not to exceed amount if we wanted to, and she is including a couple of these meetings in that amount. So I think we're in pretty good shape funding wise. And if we can get some matching funds back from Kirkpatrick, then that would be even better.
Nate, I'm traveling on the 24th, but I can attend by Zoom. I will be in town on the 14th.
Okay. And again, even if it's, I guess, we would submit your, I'm just trying to think, if you had comments or something, you could submit worst case scenario, and I could present those like we did last time. Todd Dixon wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, it has to do with the finances. If we're receiving matching funds, or if we can bill for matching funds from the state, do those need to be basically encumbered or paid by the end of June? Because what I'm wondering is if we have to send something back either through our attorneys or through Nina for review, and the fee for that, if there's a fee for that, I'm wondering if we can get that at least partially reimbursed from the state.
Nothing after that June 30th deadline.
So we
from the state, but Kirkpatrick may be different.
Okay.
I still don't know the terms of that agreement.
So we would
or
need
that-
to have comments. If we want to have any state assisted funding, we would need to have comments in and basically have the bill from the attorneys by the end of June, right?
Right. Which I think, just my opinion is that most of the work has been done to this point. I think a lot of it is going to be discussion going back and forth on details as far as, some of the things we've talked about, minor, major subdivisions, site plans, and some of the specifics that are in there. I think that there may be a few points that need to be reviewed, but I don't know that there's going to be a ton of that necessary, but I guess it's possible.
So to clarify, Nate, for us tonight, we just have to either commit to that May 24th work session or let you know later that our availability. Is that right?
Yeah, I just want more of an informational. I'll send this
Okay.
email out, and hopefully with the drafts, if I receive those tonight or tomorrow, and then we'll know whether we have that. We know whether or not this timeline will be will work or not, or at least get started on it.
Right. Okay. And I'm available on the 24th as well.
Okay, Mike. Okay, Mike is too.
Okay.
So, yeah, so at least we'll have 3. So yeah, Lamar, we will really need you to participate. I guess the work session is worst case scenario if you couldn't make it via Zoom. If we had your comments by then, we wouldn't.
I can do it by Zoom.
Okay.
I won't be in town, but I can totally do it by Zoom. I'll be settled where I can do it.
Okay. I was just going to say that work session doesn't necessarily need to have formal action. The important formal action would be on June 14th.
And I'll be traveling back to Green Mountain Falls that day, but should be in plenty of time.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that's all I had on that.
Okay, so,
Oops,
so
what happened to my?
on our, let me scroll back to our agenda. So that's it. Any other business that we've not yet discussed?
I don't think so. It looks like Todd has another comment.
Todd's grabbing the mic again, dangerous. I'd like for the planning commission to kind of keep in mind that once this code rewrite is done, I may be kind of pushing pretty hard from my end to have you actually do more planning activities. And so keep that in mind. We may be working up some master plans, especially to help with our 2023 budgeting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you and congratulations, Mr. Mayor. All right. Before we move to adjournment, any other business to discuss?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I have 7:12 and we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Paul.